Welcome to another episode of Shelving Around, where I walk you through a section of my collection. And today is a special day because it's May the 4th. So let's begin! Okay guys, here we have my main Star Wars display. I do have a smaller display, but it's mainly Star Wars Hot Toys figures. But I will concentrate on that on another episode of Shelving Around another day. You might even have seen some of my Hot Toys figures in the Obi-Wan Kenobi archive. As you can see, most of my main figures are SH Figuarts Star Wars figures. And they are divided in 4 glass shelves. And at some point I wanted to follow a certain timeline, but as I kept collecting, that became more and more complicated due to SH Figuarts' failure to deliver some figures that they were going to release. So at the end what they left me is with empty spaces, as you can see here. So the second little frustration are these walls. Don't get me wrong, they are cool, very nice quality, and they do resemble the Death Star. These walls were created by GTP Toys, and I think they did a great job. I obviously wanted to order more of these walls, but the order never went through. And then the pandemic came, but without success, I never heard from them back. So what they left me is with a lot of empty spaces and an incomplete display. So as you can see, between SH Figuarts not releasing their promises and having empty walls in my display, the dark side is really strong in my collection. So let's look at the shelves in detail. And of course guys, I dedicated the top shelf to the original trilogy. But because of SH Figuarts not releasing all of the characters from those movies that I wanted, I was only able to put together these scenes. And then here I had some extra space, which I managed to put a scene from the prequels. Perhaps the best scene, which was Obi-Wan Kenobi and his master Qui-Gon Jinn fighting off Darth Maul. And down here I was able to get some figures from the sequels. But again, not all of them were released, so I just was able to place them here and open, unfortunately. Let me know in the comments what I should do with them. Moving on to the middle of the top shelf, we have a representation of A New Hope. And here I wanted to represent the dark side by Darth Vader, facing off his old master, Ben Kenobi. On the far right we have the stormtroopers representing the dark side. And on the left we have the droids C-3PO and R2-D2 with Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia as well. And here on the bottom of the middle part we have Han Solo and Chewbacca. And I wanted to recreate Han Solo and Chewbacca's adventures, but I had to move the stormtroopers to the Mandalorian display, so I just have them here alone. And here a bit to the left, still in the middle, we have Boba Fett. And another promise that wasn't delivered was Jabba the Hutt, so I was planning to place Boba Fett with Jabba the Hutt, but he is left there alone. And here on the far right we have, of course, father and son, Darth Vader versus Luke Skywalker on their final battle. And of course the outcome would be that Luke Skywalker manages to turn his father into the light side on his dying breath. My favorite figure is of course Luke Skywalker from the Return of the Jedi. I just simply love the uniform and like very much the painting application used by SH Figuarts on his hair. So for the second shelf I have divided it between the prequel trilogy and the sequel trilogy. first I have on the left Count Dooku and SH Ventress. Of course, Count Dooku is SH Figuarts, but SH Ventress is Black Series Hasbro. It's a good size comparing to Count Dooku's size. Since in the animated series they worked together, I thought it was a great idea to put them together. Okay guys, still on the left side we have my representation of the Battle of Geonosis. Here we have young Anakin Skywalker with Padme Amidala facing the Clankers, with some clone troopers there as well. And we have, of course, Mace Windu facing Jango Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi destroying a Clanker there. We will see some Clankers which are part of the Battle of Geonosis and some of different color. This is because I bought some droids from the Phantom Menace movie, and since a lot of figures from that movie weren't released, I was stuck with those two Clankers and I didn't know where to put them, so I saw fit to put them in my display, even though they are different color. And I would have loved to see other Jedis like Master Kit Fisto, but this is everything we got, and I was able to display a little bit about the Battle of Geonosis. So moving on to the right side of the second shelf, here we have a representation of the first of the sequel movies. I'm talking about The Force Awakens. Here we have Kylo Ren before he became Whiny Ren, wielding the Force. Behind him we have Captain Phasma, and of course we have some First Order Stormtroopers. Here I have a display of Snoke's throne room. Kylo Ren joining forces with Rey, fighting off the elite Praetorian Guards. This is from the movie The Last Jedi. And that's it for the second shelf, but I want to let you know that my favorite of all this shelf is, of course, Obi-Wan Kenobi in that suit from Attack of the Clones. Okay guys, moving on to the third shelf, which I don't even know what to call it, guys. I'll just say it's a mix and match bunch of figures. As you can see, I have displayed different movies and different sorts of figures. So let's start with the first part, which is the Mandalorian Season 1 display, and I have already made an archive about it. You can check it out on my channel. So here we have obviously the Mandalorian, the main characters, and this is another frustration, guys, because SH Figuarts promised or said that they were going to release the weathered Stormtroopers, but they never did, so I had to use more shiny Stormtroopers from other movies and to put them in my display. Also, as you can see, I have the armor, and my original idea was to place the armorer fighting off the weathered Stormtroopers in that very cool scene in The Mandalorian, but of course probably I will never be able to make it. And of course here is Bo-Katan Kryze. Obviously this is not a SH Figuarts, it's a Black Series from Hasbro, but I didn't know where else to put it but near Mando, obviously, so for the time being she's there, looking really cool. Here we have two figures from the sequels, Rey and Kylo Ren, because they were the only figures that were released, so I don't know what to do with them. Probably I will display them kissing, guys. So let me know in the comments what should I do, where should I place them, because at the moment I have no idea where to put them. Moving on, we have here some artifacts, Kotobukiya figures, Emperor Palpatine himself and his two royal guards. I wasn't able to purchase the SH Figuarts royal guards, they were too expensive, as well as the Emperor, so I settled for the artifacts figures, and I really like them very much. They're very nicely sculpted, as you can see. Moving on, obviously I got sick of waiting for the main characters from The Force Awakens. We have Poe Dameron there, we have Finn, and of course Rey. That's the only way I had to have them in my display, so I settled as well for these figures in artifacts. And of course behind Poe you can see BB-8, really cool. Here on the bottom we have a representation of that really cool fight between old Luke Skywalker and Kylo Ren. Although I would have preferred to have other figures as well from The Last Jedi, but those and the ones that I just showed you are the only ones I have. Okay guys, on this side we have my display of the Revenge of the Sith movie. General Kenobi facing off General Grievous. And on the bottom we have the ultimate battle between Padawan versus Jedi Master. Anakin Skywalker versus Master Kenobi. And my favorite character in this shelf is the Armorer. I just think SH Figuarts did a really great job on that helmet. They're really cool, and of course all of the accessories that she brings are really cool. Okay guys, for the fourth and final shelf we have another mix and match assortment that I'll show you right now in detail. Here we have two scout troopers with their speeder bikes, and I couldn't pass on these really cool vehicles. They would have looked really cool next to the Ewoks and of course Luke and Leia in Endor. So here I have what I wanted to arrange as my Master and Apprentice display. And here I have Master Yoda from the Empire Strikes Back movie, but without his apprentice, without pilot Luke. And this is another promise from SH Figuarts that they didn't deliver. So I'm going to make a pledge. Tamashination, you are my only hope. Please produce pilot Luke. And here we have from The Last Jedi movie, it's Rey being trained by old Luke. And of course I used from the Dragon Ball series, SH Figuarts effect there, as you can see. And lastly we have old Ben Kenobi training young Luke Skywalker in the Millennium Falcon. So moving on this section I have dedicated to the Imperial and First Order forces. Here on this part we have the Death Troopers protecting Grand Admiral Thrawn's greatest rival, Director Krennic himself. And here we have Shore Troopers, a KX droid and a BB droid. And of course, because SH Figuarts didn't release the main team of the movie Rogue One, I was just stuck with K2SO by himself, so I just placed him there like an Imperial droid. And here we have some First Order troopers being led by an Executioner trooper here. And finally we have the Sith troopers, really cool red Sith troopers, really cool. So my favorite figure of last final shelf is Scout troopers with their speeder bikes, of course. They are really cool, awesome. So that's it guys, this is my main Star Wars display, and as you can see there's a lot of room for improvement, but since SH Figuarts hasn't released all the figures, there's so much I can do. So may the 4th be with you, and I'll see you in another episode of Shelving Around. Do not forget to subscribe, give a comment, give it a like.